Hey there, uprisers. Yes, I've decided to give you guys names finally. Sorry it's been so long for uploading. We've had some technical difficulties with my phone, believe it or not. Yeah, it decided to stop recording after 12 seconds. So, yeah. What do I have here in front of me, you may be asking? Well, I have a battle mat. I bought this so that our next session can be very large scale and people can actually see stuff. The problem is I drew this out originally a few days ago and now it decided to stick on, which is lovely. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna be the city map for the big encounter. Oh, that's right. You haven't seen the last session because my phone decided to be stupid and quit fucking working. So, here's what happened in our last session about a month ago. Yeah, we decided to take a break and, see what would come to fruition and stuff like that. But I'm giving my phone another shot before I rent video equipment from the library, so don't let me down, phone. So what happened is, because I want you guys to be as aware of everything as the players are. Let's see, so it started off with people having some dreams. Yes, after the encounter that they had down in the caverns, they all got to bed after Donovan drank some more. Donovan. So yeah, after he drank some more, let's see. Yeah. We started with OG Zach, Cormit. So this is just a summed up version that I made for everyone. In his dreams, he went back to his monastery. He saw his fellow monks, he saw his friends, he saw his family. After a little bit of him just reminiscing and walking through, he began hearing screams and yelling, a dull roar, okay? Other monks were looking towards the sound behind him, and as he turned around, he saw a ginormous wave of fire rushing towards him. Okay, it burned everything it touched. Buildings incinerated, turned to dust. People just evaporated. But then he just stood there, unable to move, unable to do anything. And then the fire washed over him. And it's just a little bit warmer. It doesn't burn him, he's all right. While he's inside the fire, trying to make sense of what is happening, okay, memories flash before his eyes. He sees people screaming, just giant chaos, and he failed a wisdom saving throw, so he was clutching his head, trying to cover out everything. He heard a voice in his head. The voice was yelling at him how he should have stayed behind with his brothers and died. His mind is heavy with survivor's guilt. And then he realizes he's envious of the ease of death, for the ease of death that happened in his past. Then we moved on to Tucker, Depth Roots. So in his dream, he's in a different version of Crowdare. It's like a ghost town. Incredible darkness looms in front of him. He can maybe see 10, 15 feet tops. and even then he can only vaguely see shapes. He can't make out any details. As he's walking along, he comes to a spot and he feels, and he sees a floating shape, floating circular sphere in the distance. And through gazed upon it, he gets an enormous gut feeling of unease. He made a wisdom saving throw, which I'm pretty sure he passed. And his gut's just telling him to run for his life. Like, this thing will kill him in an instant. So he begins to run. But he recalled feeling this terror and dread and panic towards this entity. He realizes he's only felt it once before, in a time he wishes he forgot. Is that what it is? Oh, in a time he wants to forget from an entity he never truly saw. He's never seen this thing before, but he's felt its presence and it terrifies him to this day. So then as he was running, trying to run as fast as he can, he looks behind him. He sees it gaining on him, and like there are appendages, multiple appendages coming out of it from all over. A gigantic, grotesque creature of some sort. And then he keeps running because he knows he just has to get away as fast as he can. There's a humongous clap of thunder. Rain begins to pelt his face, making it difficult to run. So now he is moving at what would be considered half speed. So he looks back and sees more shapes. One that are all following, but they don't seem to be struggling with the difficult terrain at all. So what I did is I gave him a brief summary. So the first additional figure that appears would be a creature size huge. So it'd be a cloud giant. And I realized this later, the cloud giant base that I put on the inside was incorrect. I was thinking gargantuan, which is wrong. So my bad. So it's just 3x3. It was like 4x4 or whatever I had it be. But yes, 3x3. That's how big a huge creature is. Anyways, so that's the first one. He sees a huge figure just stepping toward him. Each step, thunder and lightning just comes streaking down. Let's see. He keeps running. He stumbles a little bit, and he turns around, and then he sees another shape. This one would be a large, he hears these disgusting sounds like snorting, and he felt a wave of hunger wash over him. Let's see. Eventually, he was running, and there were more figures. There was like 6 figures, all of varying heights. And then all of a sudden, there were clouds all over, and out of the darkness, or from up above the light, or a beam of light bursts open upon him. He looks up into the blinding light, and he sees a figure with wings coming down. I asked him to make a wisdom or an insight. I forgot what I had him roll, but he felt that even though this thing is completely different, it will still kill him. So he runs away from the light. The light's following him and trying to follow him. So now all of a sudden he's running as fast as he can, and he trips. And when he turns around, he sees that these 7 figures are around him. And then he hears, "Our time has begun. You won't escape this time, little morsel. And then the largest figure, that huge one, steps over and heaves a giant great sword right down towards his face. And as time slows down in this moment, he sees the lightning coming down and then striking the sword, and then all went black. Let's see, then it was Logan's. He thought about how this cult of dwarves reminded him of the Foldus clan, the clan he slaughtered and hunted to near extinction. But his mind is worried how any of the members who escaped weren't any threat. They were basically slaves, manual labor, very low on the totem pole of this clan in his pastime. How did they become so powerful again to pose such a threat to terrify a city? As he's trying to come up with this, he's back in the caves. He's trying to come up with how this is possible. But then a voice interrupts, a very soothing voice, and it says, "My child." And then Logan turns around because the voice came from behind him, and he sees a giant satyr, like half man, half goat type thing. The voice says again, "My child, it is time to accept who you truly are." And then he begins to feel an excruciating pain. Okay, and it's hard to tell, but it looks like this giant satyr is growing more, and then Logan Knife Ears is just feeling excruciating pain, and he's just crumbling to the ground. And then he opens up his eyes a little bit more. The satyr is humongous, towering over him. It looks like the cave grew with him, though, which is really weird. And then he looked around and he saw that he had a tail. And he looked down and he had paws. He had turned into a little fox. And then the giant satyr leans down, and picks him up by the scruff, looks at him and says, "Now, my little hunter, you can be yourself." And then crushes the fox's head. Now Donovan, Zach, my roommate Zach, he's back in his hometown. It has grown exponentially in a short time since he left. And as he's walking down the street, people look at him with disgust. They spit at him. They throw things at him. He hangs his head in shame. And as he's trying to go find a bar to drink at, to try to just drown out all this misery surrounding him, he hears a soft, gentle voice calling out to him. And as he turns to look, he sees the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. And she says, I forgot how I exactly did this because I only wrote one line of dialogue to this point. But with her, right next to her, is a large light blue-skinned angel. Okay, even though you guys are on the worst street, everything's just miserable, he looks happy and proud. Nobody could hurt him in any way. Now, the lady beckons him forward, and this is a big lady, okay? Okay. I just see a notification popped up, and I wanted to make sure the timer was still going, so that's what that was. So anyways, he comes up to her, and she eventually gets a point across. "I will be waiting for you at your home." Leaned him and kissed him, and he snapped and just, it all went black. So those were the dreams. I was really proud of how well we did that and how everything went with that. Unfortunately, it didn't get recorded. So now I'm here telling it to you. You might notice that the angle is a little bit different because I actually bought a tripod. Maybe I'm excited to see how it works. I have ideas of how this stuff could happen. It seems nice quality. Okay, so after that happened, they all came down at various points. Cormit, he went to a temple. Oh dear God, did I write that down? Okay, let me check something real quick. I completely forgot to write this down. But he went to a temple because he wanted to get high up and look to the east. He looked and wanted to look into the east and just meditate. So, like, the temple will be important. Let's see. Knife Ears came down. He ordered breakfast. Depth Throat came down, and it turns out he slept with the bar owner or the tavern owner to get free breakfast in the morning. So then as the man came out, or as the bartender came back, it was a man, his name was Steve. He said, "Hey there, sweet cakes." So Depth Throat slept with the guy to get free breakfast. That was fun. Then Donovan stumbled down the stairs, broke a table, and then got over to the bar eventually, and then eventually a fight broke out between the four of them: the gay bar owner, the Donovan. Well, the main fight was between a drunk Donovan because he kept failing Constitution saving throws, so he was still hungover, and or Constitution check, so he was still hungover. And Knife Ears and Depth Throat, they were just eating, just staying out of it. And then to Crown's Guard. It's not a kingdom, so it's Town's Guard, yeah, because that's totally what I said last session. The Town's Guard, they came in and they know Steve fairly well, it seems. And so now, these two Towns Guard who appeared to be off duty, but then decided that they could escort this troublemaker who was causing their friend Steve some trouble, away. So anyways, what eventually happened is Depth Throat drew a card from the deck of illusions, threw it down, and a bugbear appeared. Let's see. He also cast invisibility on Donovan, who slipped away and tried to hide in a bush. That was something. So eventually, Knife Ears came to his senses, helped capture Depth Throat by saying, "Jump in the goddamn bag of holding." So that's how that happened. So Knife Ears was able to persuade / just let it happen because this stuff was getting crazy. So that was fucking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it was unplanned. That was completely unplanned. I did not have that ready, set up. So yeah, Steve could easily kick one of their asses by himself. Anyways, so now, so yeah, then eventually they calmed down. After being bitch slapped around, Donovan came to his senses while in a bush. He was gonna try to sneak along by uprooting the bush to hide in the street after them, because they decided to go to the mayor's office because it's just like, okay, you guys are heading to the mayor's office because as a group, so that means that'll let him know that everything is safe and done, because that was the agreement beforehand for simplicity reasons. And let's see, then also, so when they got there, they got paid, I think it was 100 gold total. 100 gold total. Yeah, now they learned that Telgraden was the name for an ancient famine or plague or whatever it was, where all the cropland and food for Demausen was dying pretty much. And so from long ago, so that's just a little bit of tidbit, like why were cannibalistic dwarves worshipping a fucking plague of locusts pretty much. Yeah, so then they went some shopping, really didn't find anything. And then Donovan was able to attune with some help to the dwarven thrower he had gotten. And let's see, yeah, this goes here. And so then after that, he now has a very strong weapon. And yeah, so now they were walking along the docks, and the temple, oh crap, I completely forgot to finish looking at this. Sorry, one minute, folks. I'm sorry about this. I completely blinked, so I made it literally in a split second. Or I made it afterwards, actually. Okay, the temple, the temple is to Yadro, the deity of the sea. In the design, it's dark and light blue, spiraling. You'll see it in the next session coming up. Let's see. So yeah, it's Yadro. And so eventually, yeah, they all got met up again. And as they were walking along the docks, all of this, like they saw a ship